A historic address gets a modern update. Let's welcome Tim Kennedy, president of Trident Construction, here to talk about the transformation at 71 Wentworth and what it means for Charleston's future. Glad to have you with us.
Oh, thank you.
So they always say, you know, we here today are the stewards of the past.
Very much so.
Right, and so the work that you did on 71 Wentworth is preserving not just history, but making it viable for the future.
Yes.
Tell us about this project.
Oh my goodness, you know, it was a super exciting project. We were honored to be part of it. We started in actually 2017.
Wow.
And you know, about 2 years of pre-construction as we kind of worked through the due diligence with the owner. The developer was East West, and they do, of course, a lot of tremendous bringing new life to things and creating communities and life to things. And they saw an opportunity there to kind of put the coin or the jewel back on King Street.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people know that building because Candlefish is just downstairs on the ground level, which who hasn't gone to Candlefish and made a candle or bought a birthday gift, right? But the building itself has historic significance. It's been awarded the Carolopolis Award, among other things. So can you talk a little bit about the history of the building?
So the history of that building, it was built originally in 1871. It was built for the Freemasons of South Carolina, the Masonic Lodge. It was basically their lodge. They had actually been on that site, I believe, since 1830, something like that.
Yeah.
And they outgrew their lodge, so they tore it down and they built this new lodge. And about 30,000 square feet, 3 stories. Yeah. And it was built for $30,000.
Gosh.
Now I asked AI.
So what's the value of it today?
Well, I asked AI, and
okay.
it was $1.5 million, which is still a bargain because if we were building that building today, it'd be more like $30 million.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And for a construction company, you can't have the faint of heart to tackle a project like this.
Yes.
You have to be very surgical when dealing with a historic property. Can you walk us through that process? You said that there was a couple of years of pre-construction, so it's kind of getting to know the bones of the building.
Yes.
And then what do you find throughout that process? What are you sort of mandated to preserve or to mimic with new materials?
So a couple of things with that building that are unique. The ground floor had been carved out and sold to a separate owner. And so when the Freemasons sold the building in the 1950s, or the 1940s, I guess, it went to a private businessman in Charleston who kind of modernized it. And so the modernization, one cool thing was, it's the first building in South Carolina with central air conditioning.
Oh, is it really?
Absolutely, it was at that time.
That's so interesting. Oh, wow.
The bad part of that is they tore out the beautiful windows, the Gothic windows that were there, and they closed them in and made them small and, you know, kind of took away all the glitz of the building. And so really, after about 20 years, the upper floors kind of fell into disrepair, and they basically went unused for 50 years. Wow. And so we looked at that building for numerous developers over the course of our history here, and no one could quite figure out how to solve the puzzle. Because you had a separate ownership on the first floor, new ownership or separate ownership on the second and third floor. And so East West came in and they brought in a very, very talented architect, Kevin Herfendorfer.
Okay.
And it's a tough name, sorry about that. And he was super creative in creating a way to have 2 means of egress out of the upper floors.
Oh, and so kind of maximizing the space.
Absolutely, maximizing and creating and meeting current code requirement.
Yeah.
And so when they kind of solved that problem, they found out that they could create these luxury condominiums, and so that's what we did for 3 years after that.
You have to please the owners, you have to please the public to make sure it's appealing to the people walking by. You have to make sure that it's following all the permits and coding, and I mean, that's a tremendous
can't have a weak stomach
to be in this business.
No, and you know, you're out there on the corner of Wentworth and King Street.
Yeah.
That might be the busiest corner in Charleston.
It is.
And so, you know, all the tourists, all the people walking through there, and so we have to do all this work. Our access is literally through a 10-foot doorway, and everything has to go into the building, delivered just in time, up to the floors up above.
Yeah.
A couple of closures with the street. The city officials were awesome in working with us and giving us a lane. But then things happen like the Cooper River Bridge run, and we have to remove all that for the week of the Cooper River Bridge run, and then we put it all back again. And you know, over our 3-year period, we had to do it 3 times.
Well, with just a few seconds left, so that hasn't discouraged you. In fact, I think it's encouraged you to do even more projects. One of which is going to be the Four Seasons that's coming to Charleston.
It is. That's one of the exciting things we're working on.
I wouldn't pass that up either.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a landmark project down on Meeting Street. Probably will start sometime later this year. So a lot of hard work in front of us to get that going, but that's what kind of is looking like.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. That's
glad
exciting.
to be here. Thank you.
All right, we're back after this.